With over 100 victims in the recent car clocking trial involving PCS vehicles, and as more time progresses, more victims are created as vehicles are put back into the motor trade, chauffeurs and the public are being warned to ensure that they can carry out their own due diligence and checks in relation to buying vehicles. Mercedes, such as Ronnie's, a HPI check on all the vehicles used in the recent trial would identify mileage discrepancies, with a significant number of vehicles in the UK being clocked today with an estimated cost to consumers of at least £800 million a year. Doing your own due diligence and not relying solely on a single source such as the government's MOT database could help ensure that you are not like another victim like Ronnie.
I parked up at the Terminal 1 car park to go inside the terminal to pick up some passengers, and one of the Emirates chauffeur drivers asked me, was that my vehicle, pointed to my car. I said yes, and said, you know that vehicle's been clocked, don't you? I said, I beg your pardon. So then we had a brief conversation about, I said, how would you know that? How would you know the vehicle had been clocked? And basically he said, all our vehicles are clocked. I said, are you saying to me you drove that vehicle? He said, yes, I did drive that vehicle. And one day I would go into the garage for some work with 40,000 miles and could come back out with 10,000 miles. Well, we didn't engage in a lengthy conversation. He was just sort of telling me that my vehicle had been clocked, and it was, according to him, all the vehicles that they drove around the country were subject to the same treatment.
Even though Trading Standards did a fantastic job in bringing 2 successful prosecutions in the car clocking trial against Emirates Chauffeur Service, it is disappointing that more effort wasn't made in contacting victims like Ronnie and ensuring that they were compensated after a successful prosecution.
I did get a call from Trading Standards in 2014, towards the end of the year, from the Preston office.
Right.
Asking me questions about my vehicle, and they told me that the vehicle had been clocked. The chap in Preston said, would I be prepared to give a statement? I said, yeah, of course I would. But nothing happened after that. It seemed a bit remiss of them not to show any real interest if they had me as a victim of car clocking, but didn't seem to be all that keen to get that statement from me. 2 years later, when the timing belt snapped and the engine was ruined, it meant I couldn't work. I had a school contract every day, Monday to Friday, AM and PM, which I had to farm out to somebody else. And the car was off the road for 10 weeks, so I didn't earn any money for 10 weeks. Surely there should be some justice in the fact that they should have to compensate people for all this palaver. This guy's created turmoil and misery for an awful lot of people, and deserves to get the full weight of the law on his, brought down on his shoulders, not just a token 3-year sentence.
What advice would you give to anybody who may have bought an ex-Emirates chauffeur vehicle?
So I would say, don't even think about buying Emirates chauffeur drive cars, even though their brand has been used by PCS to enhance the respectability of the vehicles. We're
encouraging not only chauffeurs in the UK, but other consumers who may buy or see for sale an ex-Emirates chauffeur drive car to conduct their own due diligence, including HPI checks, service history, and any maintenance with Mercedes UK and warranty work. These vehicles travel significant miles, hundreds of thousands of miles, but have been sold to consumers with only a fraction of those miles displayed.